one of my biggest compliments to him and why I like it so much is it's that ability to write it in a subtle way and allow us to make the connections instead of beating us over the head.
Yeah,
with it.
he's one of those authors that I believe that when you read through the books a second time is better than the first time. And that's rare because, the second time you know what to expect. But he layers so many subtle things in that you just don't see the first time, that you have to go through a second time just to be able to see those
and
things.
Appreciate what was actually laid forth here. Yeah. No, the prologue definitely speaks to that. And my second read, or whatever which read through this is for book 2, it's the best I've ever read book 2. I'm amped, man. I'm smoking through it. It's 1,000 pages, but yeah, no, that's a massive compliment. He's decent at this whole thing.
Yeah, he's an okay writer. I think he's got a career. I think he's gonna make it.
If I can speak to it though, that's not to take it. What you guys are saying is not to take away from what I've experienced going through the first time, because it's one of the most interesting and action-packed stories. Even without, and I know that obviously having read it one time, that you missed all kinds of stuff, and there's little bits and pieces that you remember as you read through. And I didn't, for you guys that don't know, I didn't take notes or go back and try to figure out theories. Definitely didn't go to Reddit or any sites like that. So when I read it through the first time, I kind of plowed through the whole thing. And I was happy to do it, as much as, I'd come across something like, for instance, the Tinkers or the similarities of the stories between, say, Kavoth and Lanray. Yeah, Lanray. But I was happy to plow through it because the story's so interesting, and it just keeps on going too. There's never a dull moment, and if there ever is even a slightly dull, which usually ends up being an info dump or something that has some importance to the story, it doesn't matter because it picks right back up and into another interesting point in the story.
Yeah, it was the same for me. First time I went through it, it was 2011, and so I timed it so that I finished the first book the day before the second book came out. So nice. I bought the second book the day it came out and was able to just jump straight from the first book to the second one, and then I read the second book in 2 days. I just plowed through it. I just knocked out like 500 pages a day, and then I've been now I've been sitting here for almost 10 years waiting on the third book. What's amazing is like in 2011 I decided, I was like, hey, let me check out A Song of Ice and Fire. And I plowed through those books and then immediately jumped into this series. And so I read book 5 of A Song of Ice and Fire and then book 2 of this series. I was done with both of them by July of 2011. And I'm like, these are the 2 greatest series of all time. I cannot wait to dive into the next book. And then it's like, well, you're gonna have a long wait, buddy. you just chose 2 authors that are gonna pick apart every word they write down on paper. It's gonna be a long wait.
Glutton for punishment, I guess, Dan.
Yeah, I was not expecting both series. I would still be waiting 9 years later for the next book. But as long as they knock it out of the park, it'll be worth the wait.